Again, faith and humility. Friday, faith and humility, the greatest commandments. Saturday, faith and humility. Next, faith and humility, because it's Peter, remember? Upon this rock I will build my church. You just have to believe. You know, Peter was a very impulsive person. Did you know that? He was very impulsive. Sometimes he couldn't control his mouth. Peter had that tendency. And then on this gospel, Matthew 16, that's when Jesus started changing him. Thou art Peter the rock, the massive rock upon which I will build my church. So there you go. 8 days. Common message. Common message. How old was the Blessed Mother when she died? About 82.
Very good.
There are 5 stages here. Hello there. Please. Okay, we're talking about Matthew 15 here.
Robin Mark's running a little late. He's still in church. He's still be right there.
Okay.
Okay. I'll be right there.
Sure. This is Matthew 15, just so you know. Okay, first of all, the background. You know where this happened? Remember that woman is not, she was a Gentile, she was not Jewish. You know where Jesus went? First he went to Lebanon. Have you heard of Lebanon? Capital city of Beirut. That's where this happened. Jesus had to withdraw. You know why he had to? I'll tell you why. Because Herod was after him. Herod was after Jesus. So Jesus fled to Lebanon. And Lebanon was outside the territory of Herod. So Herod couldn't touch him in Lebanon. You understand? That's where this happened. It's good to understand this background. I wish they say this in the homilies, right? These things. But this happened in Lebanon. And for a good reason. Because Jesus was saying, and there is reason for it. And the big profound reason was, Jesus wanted to reach out to non-Jews. He really wanted to reach out to non-Jews. Understand? To Gentiles. He didn't go to Puerto Rico. He didn't go to the Philippines. He didn't go to Cuba or Ecuador or Guatemala. He went to Lebanon. Lebanon is north of Israel. Right? It's way up north. And so, there's travels involved. He went to Lebanon. And I tell you what the reason was. Because he wanted to be outside the jurisdiction of Herod. Now, it is over The Gentiles were called foreigners, by the way. The Gentiles were called foreigners. For good reason. You're not Jewish, you're not local, you're a foreigner. Now, the question is, what about the Old Testament? Isaiah, who lived 700 years before Jesus, saw this happening. You know that? You'll see this in Isaiah 56. If you see, look at Isaiah 56, you will see this. Isaiah was talking about all nations. It's not just Jewish nation, all nations. Isaiah 56, Isaiah 49 also. Isaiah 49, you will see a line that talks about all nations. I will give you as a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the end of the earth. 66. So Isaiah saw this. The all nations. That's why our church should be a welcoming church. We should not say, oh, this is only for Irish, this is only for Italian, this is only for Polish. You can't do that. That's not the will of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ welcomes all nations. You understand? All nations. And in fact, in Isaiah 66, Isaiah was even talking about all languages, every language on earth included. How clear can he get by saying all languages on earth? That means all nations, everyone. Stage 2. You know what torment means? Anyone here who has been tormented by a demon? You have? Really? Can you expound?
Yes, when I do, something I'm not supposed to do.
You feel like you're tormented?
Yeah, when you sin.
That's amazing. Because this woman, she was not tormented by the demon. It was her daughter who was being tormented. Now, what about the relationship between Jews and Canaanites? Canaanites are those from Canaan. The Jews would despise. Let me tell you something. Throughout history, the Jews would despise non-Jews. You don't have to go far. Even over here, have you seen Jews? I see many of them in ShopRite. You notice it? I don't know. Many of them in ShopRite. You go to Passaic, there's many of them. Do you ever see anyone mingling with non-Jews? They would even look at non-Jews. I don't have to say very much more, because you can see with your 2 eyes. That's how they are. And nothing has changed since the time of Jesus. It's been like that since the time of Jesus. Isn't that something? Not much has changed. Remember the woman at the well? Remember the woman? Botini? Remember her? She is so used to the Jews despising them. And what did she say to Jesus? You, a Jew, asking from me, a non-Jew, for water? She was perplexed. This is beyond me. I can't understand this. Why would a Jew talk to a non-Jew like me? Oh, but that alone, that sin alone is good enough to make out on how they treat other people. Have you seen a Jewish woman marry a non-Jew? Have you?
I think so, yeah.
Jewish woman?
Jewish woman.
But probably not Orthodox. Probably not Orthodox. Orthodox, you will never. They don't even look at other people. Much less speak. No way. They just speak between themselves. The children, once they wander around, or they'll be pulled right back in. There's no way they should even mingle with non-Jews. It's amazing. Now, the good thing that this did, this torment, one good thing that this did is it lowered that barrier. Remember, Jews, only the Jews. They wouldn't talk, they wouldn't mingle much with non-Jews. They despised the Canaanites. They despised everybody else. Now, that torment by the demon on the daughter lowered that barrier. Because of this, there's reason for that woman to approach a Jewish rabbi, Jesus Christ. Please help my daughter. She's being tormented by the demon. Otherwise, she wouldn't even go close to him. There was this barrier, the barrier. And that barrier is very much up to this day. There are communities that are pretty much Jewish, right? You notice that? They more or less live together. There was one time I went to Lakewood, down south, way down south, at the very tip of South Route 9, the very end, southern tip. And we went to a corner and saw Jewish houses. And they were looking at us like, what's this car doing here? A non-Jew would come here. You can tell by the looks that they stare at you and see where you're going. As if you had no business to be there. And then the test. I told you the test. Jesus tested the woman's faith. Ooh. It's not good for the food of the children of Israel to be thrown to the dogs. Big test. I gave that to you already. The fourth stage is tenacity. What does this mean, tenacity?
Aggression. Aggressive.
Pretty much, yeah. Takes a lot of perseverance to be able to, to put together as much. I need to speak. I need help. I need help for my daughter. I don't care if he's Jewish rabbi. I'm going to have to ask for something from him.